Hey, welcome back. It's Jordan, the Urban Outlander, here to talk about episode 2 of season 6 of Outlander. It's Allegiance. I have my trusty Sassenach necklace on, so I totally mean business. Let's dive in. Outlander teaches me so much, and if there's anything that I learned tonight, it's about the French technique. The most important thing is that it works. It's really important to make sure you always have a helping hand. Fergus and Marsali have gone through some tough times already this episode, and in the beginning of in episode 1 as well. So I'm really glad to see them come together in more ways than one. Don't forget the seaweed. Forget about me learning a lot with Outlander. Marva has had a big night. How babies are made, how they're born, that women may enjoy pain with their pleasure. Marva has had an immense learning education, all thanks to Claire. How many times has Claire told so many women in her time travels about, how babies are made and women actually might enjoy sex? I was waiting for a bigger reaction from Marva tonight. I needed a little bit of that punchline. I didn't get it, so I'm just here to do it for her. Congratulations, Marva. You're a woman. Roger becomes a preacher, or at least he's on the road to preaching, and I'm just glad he's doing it rather than Tom Christie. I think we're all in agreement about that. My favorite part this episode, I think, was when Tom was so frustrated that he couldn't beat his own child, and let's face it, still a little sore about Jamie having to do it for him in episode 1, that he reluctantly goes back to Claire and says, well, fine, please, sure, fix my hand. Because Tom, if you can't use one hand to beat your child, just use the other. That's what I do. Once again, it's reinforced that Jamie and Claire, if they lived in modern times, they need to AirBnB The Big House. It's beautiful. There's a shot this episode where Jamie walks into the foyer, where you see the beautiful staircase and that fabulous wooden paneling. And then in episode 1, we had that amazing wallpaper in their bedroom that was so lush and just so warm and just rich, right? Can you imagine how much money Claire and Jamie could make off of that house? I mean, hipsters would love it. They get that rural farmstead experience. You get to churn your own butter. You get to hand make your own matches. You have a surgery in-house, so when you try to chop down a fucking tree and you miss and chop off your toe instead, get a surgery right there. You don't have to go far, and I'm sure your medical bills might be less. My other little favorite moment was when Jamie comes to Tom Christie and is like, so this church is gonna be a meeting house, and it's gonna be a meeting house, and don't call my wife a witch or anything that might rhyme with it. Did I mention this is gonna be a meeting house? And then pretty quickly after this scene, as usual, Tom Christie, totally jealous of Jamie and feeling always in a bad mood whenever he's around, goes to, let off some steam and beat his kid, but instead finds that Marva is just giving me major Wednesday Addams vibes. And once again, Tom Christie is mentioning something about Mom Christie and how she ended up, and I'm well, how did she end up? Because I haven't read the book. But should I not even ask? Is it scary? Should I not even bother trying to imagine what happened to Mom Christie? Because this is the second time it's come up and I'm worried. So Ian has a child, or at least had a child, had a wife. I hear in this season we're gonna get a special episode dedicated to what happened to Ian while he was living with the Mohawks. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Some bombs been dropping since last season. Brianna makes matches. Few questions. Can you say you invented something in the past before the person who actually invented it is born in the future? You essentially stole the idea from someone else in the future. I'll give her a pass, since up until this point in history, no one has invented matches, so we'll just whistle past that part. Yes, Brianna invented matches. Let's time travel back to season 3. What prompts Brianna to go back in time to see Mom is the whole Roger finds that her parents are gonna die in some fire. So fast forward to season 6 and we have Brianna playing with matches. And so I remember Sophieskelton, when she was doing some promo for the season, saying seems to be some glaring oversight with the writers. And I kind of agree. So let's just move on. And let's just see how this all plays out. And finally, if I have to hand make my own matches, this is going to be added to the list of reasons why I'm not going to time travel back to the 18th century, unless it's like for that occasional quickie with Jamie. Oh gosh, I'd have to say overall this episode was a little bit faster, a little bit quicker pace, a little more interesting than the premiere. What is going on with all this Christie stuff? I mean, there seems to be a huge amount of like big stuff that's going on. Like I said, I didn't read the book, but you know, plenty of people talk about it on social media about all the drama that's going to happen. I really want to see what's going on with Ian and the whole mohawk situation, with the whole love, the mysterious love, and now this child. Tell me the story. Claire is still self-medicating. Are we going to get an intervention episode? Let's wait and find out. Check out my blog at theurbanoutlander.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Make sure to subscribe and let me know what your thoughts were for episode 2. Whether or not you read the book, I'm okay with spoilers. This season, spoil away. Show me what you got.